And now we welcome in Stephen A. Smith, who is covering the Western Conference Finals for us and joins us from Oakland after, I appreciate the effort for you to be with us here because I know it was not an easy day. But this is one of those games, and you just heard me with Doris. I think there's a bit of human nature that's involved. But finally, Cleveland looked like the Cleveland, Stephen A., that you expected to see. Is that about right?
Well, I expected them to play with a degree of urgency, and I expected them to do what they did offensively, shooting nearly 50% from the field, about 50% from three-point range. Kyle Korver and LeBron James didn't miss a three on the evening. LeBron hit three, Kyle Korver hit four. J.R. Smith stepped in and contributed a couple along with George Hill. Actually, J.R. Smith hit three, George Hill hit two. They shot 17 to 34 from three-point range, so we can appreciate that. What I think needs to be more appreciated and was a bit surprising was how they amped things up defensively. They held Boston to less than 40% shooting. They held them for 6 of 22 shooting from three-point range. That's 27%. They put Boston on lock and key, essentially. Didn't give them anything all night long. Boston really showed its youth by not being able to find a way offensively from opening tap. And that was the difference in this game. Their youth really shined. And I told you they were going to be a different team on the road than they are at TD Bank Garden. And I think that's what you saw this evening.
For certain. And so this, I said to start this show, this to me was the most predictable outcome of the playoffs. You knew that LeBron at home, you're not going to go down 3-0 to this young squad. So now to me, Monday becomes the most interesting game of this series because if you let LeBron and this team start feeling themselves and start getting that confidence back on their side, then I feel like they become incredibly dangerous. So what I wonder, Stephen A., is can they finally find something on the road? Because outside of a game where they stole against Philly, they've been lousy on the road in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Well, Doris, being the exceptional basketball mind that she is, hit it right on the nose. This is an entirely different beast. You're going against the best player of this generation in LeBron James. This is not the Philadelphia 76ers, despite how gifted they are. Youthful exuberance ain't going to get it done this time of year. You're going to need something more. And LeBron has everything but that. And so, obviously, it's going to be an incredible challenge for Boston. But I don't think it's about whether or not they lose Game 4, Scott. I think it's about how they go down. Now, if you get your butts whipped and get kicked upside down, then that's an entirely different matter because then Cleveland is going to return to Boston with incredible momentum because they know they smacked Boston around in 2 consecutive games in Cleveland, Ohio. But if this is a thriller, if it comes down to the wire, if Boston regains its mojo to some degree and performs similar to the way that they performed in games 1 and 2, then it's going to be an incredibly daunting task for Cleveland, even if they do end up winning Game 4, because Boston will have the confidence that they can take them on as the series wanes, and I think it will elevate their possibilities of winning this series. But they have to perform considerably better in Game 4. If they get smacked around like they did this evening, then LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to have tremendous momentum, and I think it's the kind of momentum that Boston won't be able to overcome.
Listen, you love the game. I love the game. I just want to see a game between the series you're covering and this one. We really haven't seen one of those games that's in the last couple of minutes is up for grabs yet. I don't get it. I would expect. I just hope we see that, and I don't really necessarily understand why it is that this is what we're seeing at the moment.
Well, because Cleveland has been a model of inconsistency throughout the year. They have not showed up and played tenacious defense throughout the season. Yeah. They do what they do in spots. Offensively, they are what they are when they're hitting perimeter shots. If you're hitting perimeter shots, you spread the floor. LeBron James gives him more room to operate, and he's absolutely lethal. So they're formidable offensively. But when they really surrender themselves defensively and let you have your way with them, then it's problematic. And that's been the issue with them all season long. Yeah. When they show up offensively, they can compete with anybody. When they show up defensively, they can compete with anybody. But when they're incapable of getting stops for one inexplicable reason after another, then they look like a bunch of lost puppies, and they just sort of give up because they believe tomorrow comes and we'll be fine eventually because we have LeBron James. And that's why they're capable of looking so bad one day and so good another.
Yeah, I just want a close game, whether it's West or East somewhere. Eventually we'll get it, Stephen A. I appreciate you. I know it was a difficult travel day, but it's good to have you safe and sound on the ground out there. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
I'm good, man. I appreciate you. Thanks a lot.
Be well.